choosing a research topic, yeah, it can feel like the biggest hurdle, right? But what if we thought about it differently? Let's forget the pressure and the stress. Let's think of this as the start of an adventure, a personal quest to find a question that you actually want to answer. Oh, we have all been there, staring at that dreaded blinking cursor on a blank white page, with this immense pressure to just come up with something brilliant. It's a classic problem, for sure. But here's the good news. It is totally solvable. Let's break down exactly how you can turn this empty page into the launchpad for a really killer topic. All right, so our quest begins. And look, the topic you choose is so much more than just a title on a page. It is the absolute foundation of your entire project. I'm telling you, getting this one step right makes everything that comes after, the strategy, the data, the analysis, so much smoother. I love how the source material puts it. This is the most difficult and yet the most important step. And it's so true. It might feel like a huge challenge right now, but believe me, the time you spend really nailing down and clarifying your topic is the single best investment you can make for your project's success. So, what's the difference between just a good idea and a genuinely great, researchable topic? Well, it really just boils down to two simple but super powerful checks. You can think of these as your North Star, the thing that's going to guide you to a topic that actually works. And here they are: capability and appropriateness. Let's put it simply: can you actually do this? And is it worth doing? Every single idea you come up with has to be run through these two filters. Is it feasible and is it worthwhile? Okay, first up, let's talk capability. This is the reality check, and you gotta be honest with yourself here. Are you genuinely, truly fascinated by this? Because you're gonna be living and breathing this thing for a while. Then you get into the logistics. Do you have the skills, the time, the budget? And maybe the most important question of all, can you actually get your hands on the data you need? These are the real-world hurdles you have to clear. Next up, appropriateness. I like to call this the so what test. Will your project meet the academic standards and connect to the research that's already out there? I mean, that's table stakes, but the real question is, will it offer something new, some kind of fresh insight? And hey, let's get personal for a second. Does this quest line up with your own career goals? Is it a stepping stone for you? Okay, so you know the criteria for a good topic. Great. But where do the actual ideas come from? Well, our source material suggests there are two main paths. I like to think of this as unleashing your inner detective and your inner artist. Your inner detective uses rational thinking, logically following a trail of clues. The artist, on the other hand, is all about creative thinking, making new connections and seeing possibilities others might miss. Now, most of us probably lean one way more than the other, but the real magic happens when you learn to use a little bit of both. So what's in the detective's toolkit? It's a pretty methodical process, really. It's about gathering evidence. You start by looking at your own strengths, then you scan past projects to see what's already been done. You systematically search through literature, you keep an eye on the news, and you talk things through with people. It's all about a structured, logical search. And the artist? The artist's palette is all about creative exploration. This is where you keep a notebook handy for those random flashes of inspiration in the middle of the night. You don't just look at past projects, you really reflect on what you liked or disliked about them. You brainstorm freely without any judgment, and you use cool techniques like relevance trees to let one big idea blossom into a dozen possibilities. Now, whether you're a detective or an artist, you're going to end up with a broad idea. But here's the crucial thing. An idea is not a topic. The next step is to forge that broad idea into a sharp, focused research question. The best way to visualize this is like a funnel. You start way up at the top with a very wide area of interest. The example from our source material is electronic payment in Bahrain. It's a fantastic starting point, but you can't possibly research a topic that massive. So you start moving down the funnel and you narrow your focus. Instead of the entire universe of electronic payment, you zero in on one key aspect: customer acceptance of e-payment. You see that shift? All of a sudden, it's way more manageable because we've moved from this abstract system to the actual people using it. And finally, you get to the very bottom of the funnel, and out comes a sharp, specific, and answerable question. Factors affecting e-payment acceptance by customers, an empirical study in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Now that is a real research topic. It's got a clear scope, it defines what you're looking for, and it even sets a location. So how can you do this with your own topic? Well, think of these as the strategic levers you can pull to get your idea into focus. You can narrow it down by a specific group of people, a particular place, a key issue, or a defined period of time. Each choice you make helps turn that vague idea into a sharp, researchable question. So once you have that sharp question, there's just one last step before you really start your journey. You need a map. And in research, that map is your proposal. A research proposal is your project's blueprint, for sure, but it's also kind of like a sales pitch. Its main job is to convince your supervisor or whoever that your quest is not only worthwhile, but that you can actually pull it off. You're not just outlining a plan, you're really selling your vision. And every good map has key landmarks, right? Your proposal is going to lay out everything, from the background and your specific questions to the exact methods you're going to use. It even covers the practical stuff, like your timeline and what resources you'll need. Each piece proves you've really thought the whole journey through. This is a perfect example of what that timeline can look like. A visual plan like this, sometimes called a Gantt chart, is honestly your best friend. It transforms this huge, overwhelming project into a series of small, manageable tasks. All of a sudden, you're not doing a thesis. You're just writing the proposal in November. See? It makes the entire quest feel achievable. So there you have it. You've got the tools to find a topic, you've got the tests to make sure it's a great one, you've got the methods to sharpen it into a real question, and you've got the structure to map out your journey. That blank page isn't so intimidating anymore, is it? It's an opportunity. Your quest awaits. The only thing left to decide is, what question will you ask?